Should you go to one of these intensive marital counseling retreats hosted by Focus on the Family or whomever for 3 or 4 days out in the boonies as a last-ditch effort to save your toxic marriage with a narcissistic spouse? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to tell you what I think. No. What good is it going to do? Are you going to discover each other's love language after 10 years of being married? Are you going to learn how to make time to make love? I mean, come on, folks. This is marriage we're talking about. It's the one relationship that you sleep together every single night in the same bed, preferably naked. And here's a question that's really going to blow your mind. Is that even really what you want? Now, I've been coaching for the past decade, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that nobody deep down desires to give their body over and over again to a spouse that's abused them, even if you think that's what you want. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you, and you're going to have to justify that within yourself. It might even sink you into a further place of oppression, sickness, all kinds of bad stuff. Now, when it comes to marital counseling of any kind, whether it's Focus on the Family, intensive medical marriage, save my marriage retreats or whatever, or just your run-of-the-mill marital counseling offered for free from your church, there's really only 2 possible outcomes that you can look forward to. Best case scenario is that you and your narcissistic spouse pick up some new habits that you can implement into your relationship, throwing you into some kind of a honeymoon phase. You're writing each other little love notes and stickies, putting it on your bathroom mirror. "Oh, you look sexy today. Oh, I love you. Oh, I can't wait to see you tonight. Have a good day at work," blah, blah, blah. You might even have sex again, but it's going to last all but a couple of days. Then it's going to be right back into the same old cycle of abuse, neglect, abandonment. Why? Because even though churchy counseling or any type of marital counseling is fantastic at offering ideas to change some of the habits that might benefit a relationship, they can never change the person that you're with, nor can they change you. So that's the best possible outcome. The worst possible outcome is that you feel like you just have no choice but to hang in there, to stay stuck, to accept the shackles and the chains that is marriage keeping you bound. This happens through triangulation. What is triangulation? Triangulation is when a narcissistic person in your life who is losing their grip of control over you utilizes someone or something else to help pin you down into submission, creating a triangle. This could be a narcissistic person and a family member or a friend pinning you down into submission. It could be a narcissistic person and a coworker pinning you down into submission. In this situation, when you go to counseling, it is a narcissistic spouse and marital counseling pinning you down into submission. Now, I'm not saying that this is the intention of Focus on the Family or churchy marital counseling of any kind. However, it's the philosophy that we need to look at heavily, because it's the philosophy of this marital counseling that lends itself to be used by a narcissistic person to triangulate you. In this message, I want to share with you what this philosophy is and why it's effective at keeping you oppressed in a relationship where there should be no oppression. I'm also going to share with you how to develop your own philosophy of marriage and relationships in general so that you never feel chained down and bound and oppressed ever again. If this sounds good to you, let's go. My name is Kevin. This is The Royal We. Before I do continue, I want to let you know that I am here to support you. Down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I do take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. So before you go and spend $4,000 to $8,000 on some Booneyville Focus on the Family marital getaway, just spend 1 hour with me for not even a fraction of that cost so I can give you a proper perspective of what you're dealing with. In addition to that, I do have a coaching program. My coaching program is live and in person each and every day. I'm not just sending you videos and reading material and saying, peace out, good luck to you. No, I'm spending my daily time with you. In addition to that, as part of the program, you get access to fellowship every Tuesday night with me. We open up the Bible and we see what the Word of God has to say about a world full of narcissism. Also, every Thursday night is Backstage Pass. This is where I share with you what it takes to be a coach, mentally, emotionally, physically, even technologically. That's right, I'm giving you everything. So for those of you who have a desire to be a content creator, a teacher, a coach, a healer, join the Rowie Coaching Program to gain access to the Backstage Pass that can get you started. Now, let's get into this topic. Before I get too far into the philosophy that we need to talk about, I want to share something special with you. I received a poem. This poem is from a subscriber. You know who you are. Thank you. I love the poem that you sent. This poem captures what intensive marital counseling is really all about and how it might make you feel. Are you ready? Here it is. I couldn't find the treat in the marriage retreat. It felt just more like pressure, indoctrinated heat. It was so much work. There was always more to do. It was like trying to get gum that's just stuck on my shoe. The hours felt like days as we went round and round, trying to figure out why we share no common ground. This whole idea of death do us part seems rather extreme. I mean, where does it come from and what does it even mean? If there's no treat to be had, then why am I even here? I'd honestly rather just settle for nachos and a cold beer. Instead, I was served with a giant workbook, and my head started spinning after just one look. As I continued to sit through every event, it just felt like my soul and my energy was being spent. Prayer cannot save what isn't meant to be, but they pretend that it will for a nice hefty fee. Should partnership really ever feel like working upstream, or isn't it supposed to be organic, like flowing downstream? As I considered this question and I looked up ahead, I couldn't help but notice that there's really a church in my bed. I decided to book a solo retreat to clear my mind, gracefully allowing me to leave the church's opinion behind. And now I'm in touch with what's truly divine. I guess I did find the treat after all. Perfect poem. Really captures what it feels like sitting and being involved in these intensive marital retreats. Now, let's talk about this philosophy, the philosophy that lends itself to triangulation. What is the philosophy? The philosophy is marriage first. A lot of these counseling programs, intensive, emergency, save my marriage retreats, focus on the family out in the sticks somewhere, whatever the case may be, they all share the same philosophy. The philosophy is marriage first, marriage above all things. The marriage is an institution that you submit to. The marriage as a concept, as an idea that you submit to. Now, the problem with this is that in marriage, you are not married to marriage. You're married to a person. But when this person, especially a narcissistic person, can no longer satisfy you, and they know they can't, and they use rage and different tactics and isolation and all kinds of things. This philosophy through marital counseling comes in and allows the triangulation through this idea and this concept that you're in it because of the marriage. You have to stay in it. Narcissistic people love that. You see, a narcissistic person wants to stay in the marriage with you, not because of love, not because they want to be intimate, not because they enjoy sexuality with you, not because they enjoy spending time with you, not for any other reason, but it's convenient. It's convenient for the status. They just want the neighborhood to know that, yeah, they have a home to go to, they have a family. They want the church to know, yeah, they're married, right? That's it. It's simply for the convenience of being married. It has nothing to do with loving you, which is what you deserve if you're going to be in a relationship of commitment. You deserve to be in that with somebody who loves you, who wants you, who desires you. So you can see how this philosophy of marriage first lends itself as triangulation to a narcissistic spouse, making you feel like you can't get out. Your feelings don't matter. You're in it because of the institution of marriage. Where does this idea even come from, by the way? This idea of marriage first comes, I believe, from a biblical concept that God hates divorce. How many of you have heard that? And it's true. I come from a background of faith, and I'm very familiar with that. God does hate divorce. Fair enough. But God hates a lot of things. Now, for those of you who are believers or theologians or whatever, I challenge you right now, can you share one scripture where God poured out his wrath because of a divorce? Ready? Go. Doesn't exist. Now watch this. Where have we seen, biblically speaking, God pour out his wrath? It's wherever there is oppression and wherever there is injustice. Oppression and injustice amongst people is what God hates most. In fact, there's a whole book dedicated to this. It's the book of Exodus. Go read about it. It's a story of God removing his people out of Egypt, a relationship that his people were in Egypt where they were oppressed, abused, neglected, rejected. They had no voice. They were shown no love. They were slaves. As a consequence of that, God not only removed his people, but destroyed Egypt, destroyed Pharaoh. The reason this is important for you to understand is because many of your marriages look like that. You are God's people in a relationship with Egypt, where you are oppressed, neglected, abused, and unloved. It's unjust. It's oppression. Perhaps you need to step out of the way and let God pour out his wrath. Perhaps by ending that relationship, ending the marriage. Now, there's one more problem with this idea that marriage above all things. It can fool you into believing that marriage is what makes the relationship. And that's a backwards way of looking at it. Because marriage doesn't make anything. Marriage is just a paper. Marriage is just, if you will, a banner. But it's the relationship that really makes marriage. And you and I and everybody, we need to start looking at our relationships like this. You cannot be defined by a label. You define the label. There's lots of people out there that are married, but are in abusive relationships. Many people. That's not even a marriage. There's many people who are married on paper, married in their neighborhood, married according to the church, married according to their friends and family. But as far as what's taking place in the household, it's far from marriage. My hope for you is that you develop your own philosophy, which includes these two important things. Number one, remember, you are not marrying marriage. Marriage is not first. You are marrying a person. I'm going to say this again because somebody needs to hear this. If you decide to enter into a marriage, you're not marrying marriage. You're not marrying the concept, the idea, the institution. You're marrying another person. And this concept, this idea, this institution of marriage will not protect you or save you from the person that you're married to. Does this make sense? So never go into it looking at it as, oh, I'm married to marriage. No, no, no. You either accept the person or you don't. The second thing to remember is that marriage doesn't define you and your relationship. If your relationship is crapola, if it's toxic, then the fact that you are married on paper doesn't change that. Okay? Your relationship needs to define marriage. For this reason, you may have the best love and partner of your life and never get that piece of paper. Yet, your life together is equally yoked and represents more of a marriage than being with somebody who on paper you're married to, but within the home, you're miles apart. I hope that this message is helpful to some of you who need to hear it right now. If you want to get deeper into this, as far as how it relates to your personal life, as I said before, I'm available for one-on-one support. Head on down to the description box and schedule some time with me right now. Do not allow yourself to be triangulated through marital counseling or $4,000 worth of intensive marital retreats through Focus on the Family out in the back road somewhere. Schedule 1 hour with me. Let's get deeper into this. Also, Rowie Coaching Program is available for you, including fellowship every Tuesday night and backstage pass every Thursday night. I look forward to seeing you in the coaching program. There's going to be great things coming in the coaching program this year. You don't want to miss out on that. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We. Now, before I do leave, if you're brand new to The Royal We, be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification so that you don't miss anything from The Royal We. Now, if you don't hit the bell notification, you're most likely going to see lots of Dr. Ramani videos. I absolutely love Dr. Ramani. She's fantastic. So be sure to watch her stuff too. Hey, Dr. Ramani, if you're watching this, call me. Let's have a discussion. All right? I'll be back with more videos for you right here on The Royal We. Bye.